What's up, everybody? How's it going? I'm back. I did a stream, yesterday by myself? And now I'm here with two special guests. As you could probably take a guess, we're talking about Up and Up X. I got Haunted and Dave sitting in the green room. Going to bring them up in just a second. But yeah, this little protocol has gotten a lot of attention amongst the Pulse Chain ecosystem for the utilization of the Haunted strategy with liquid loans. And I can't think of a better time to have these guys on than a couple days after the liquid loans protocol has actually launched. So I'm really excited for this conversation. I'm excited to learn a little bit more about the Up and Up X token, kind of dive deep into some of the mechanics. Maybe I know these two had a really great stream with Axis and Crispy Man not too long ago, maybe a week or so ago. So I'm excited to kind of expand on that conversation and hopefully present you guys with some good information. So yeah, without further ado, let's bring the men up themselves. Haunted and Dave. What's up, guys?
Hey, mate. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, thank you for having us on.
Of course, my pleasure. I appreciate both of your guys' time to come on and talk a little bit about what you guys have been cooking up. I'm sure you guys have been excited with Liquid Loans launching and live now.
Oh yeah, it's a first step to our journey. Liquid Loans launching, and it's exciting. The protocol's been running smoothly. It's doing exactly what it's meant to be doing, and can't wait.
Yep. And it's been one of the most, probably the most anticipated protocol for all of the third-party builders building on top of Pulse Chain. So it's a huge milestone that we have it live. It's functional. Having the Fetch Oracle live is a huge deal. It's gonna open the floodgates for everything else to come in the future. So this is definitely a pivotal moment in Pulse Chain history. And now you guys have a little something extra to do with the stuff that you're building now that the main mechanism for Up and Up X token is live.
Yeah, so Liquid Loans is launched and the Fetch Oracle is there. Won't be public for a couple of months. There's no set date, but I think that's another big step in the Pulse Chain ecosystem, the Fetch Oracle. And having that there is going to be awesome. So we're growing slowly with the protocols that are good, and hopefully we see more in the future. But the two main ones, the Fetch Oracle and the Liquid Loans, are out, and it's only up and onwards from here, up into the X's, as I say.
No pun intended, right? Yeah. All right. Well, let's start really basic. Why don't you give us just a really brief overview of like what Up and Up X are, and yeah, just what they are. We can start there.
Up and Up X is, I always say in the beginning, it's just a simple send and receive token with a burn mechanism in there. Anyone can build on top of it, and that is it. So basically, no minting, no staking, no nothing. It's just a send and receive token. If someone wants to build any staking on top, if someone wants to buy and burn the token, they can do freely. And which two wallets out there, BW, we call the BW and BWX, will do so. They'll be buying and burning the token, utilizing Liquid Loans, doing the Haunted strategy, what we call the USDL strategy, or the Up token strategy, and bringing in some buy pressure for Up and Up X. That's just a short, simple way to make it. A short, simple way to explain it. Dave can probably explain a little bit better.
Well, I'll jump in real quick. There are two wallets out there. The BW is for the Up token, and the BWX is for the UpX token. They're both loaded with assets. I think the BW has around somewhere between 10 and 12 billion tokens and Pulse tokens, and BWX is sitting around 36 billion Pulse tokens. And those wallets, they're designed to go in and compound to get larger, and also gain a yield. And then with the compounding and the yield mechanisms, they're going to take some of their assets and go buy and burn the Up token and the UpX token.
Yeah, that's kind of my understanding of it too. You know, you have these. I guess there was a sacrifice phase for the up token, and there was a trade-in phase for the UpX token,
Minting
and then
phase.
minting phase. Sorry, a minting phase for the UpX token, and then these are basically funding these BW wallets, benevolent wallets that will execute the haunted strategy or the USDL strategy, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Essentially, just taking on leverage with the base assets of Pulse, using liquid loans, and then UpX is going to use the Earn protocol for the PulseX that it has, and then through that leverage, taking some of that liquidity and funneling it into the liquidity pools of Up and UpX to burn the tokens. And kind of the way I would like to describe it to people is like you're taking the leverage of that is available with Earn and liquid loans with Pulse and PulseX, and you're offloading that liquidity into a fixed supply asset, which is Up and UpX token. Like there's no inflation. It's deflationary because there's going to be burning, but like there's no extra inflation coming into the system. So it's like you're amplifying the leverage that's being created through these protocols.
Yeah. So I saw a TikTok the other day and said people are building protocols that are doing a buyback, so to speak. So it's kind of like a buyback. It's buying back from the LP, and then people can choose to keep holding or sell in the future. It's up to them. But it's like a buyback into the LP pairs. And just to clarify, UpX is going to be using Pulse and PulseX, so liquid loans and Earn protocol, but the majority of it is liquid loans. So you want the baseline asset as the fundamental, like the majority there, because it is a native token.
Yep, that makes sense. And so let's whatever to start. Let's walk through kind of one iteration of like how the system would work. Like the benevolent wallet has created a vault, and then kind of what happens next.
Well, so the USDL strategy works like this. So it will put 60% of the funds or whatever it's got, Pulse, into the stability pool, all in stable coins, and then you'll have two vaults, 20% each, doing the haunted strategy, but with a little twist. One vault will be doing a buy and burn. So we're going to start off with 10, and then hopefully grow that to 25%, going to a buy and burn. And the other one is just adding more stable coins to the stability pool. Once again, we're going to start low and then gradually grow high, because the price of Pulse is low. You want to try to accumulate as much Pulse as possible. We hope that this is the bottom. We can't. Not many people can imagine it going lower than what it is, as in like the all-time low that we had. So it's possible, but anything is possible. But we just hope that it doesn't, and it just keeps going up from here. So it's a good time to try to accumulate as much Pulse in those vaults as possible. Than the actual buy and burn, but then gradually grow the buy and burns to like from 10% of each loan to 20% or 15%, then 25%, and go from there. And the stability pool also, started off with 10, 20, and then maybe even go 30, because it's a stability pool. You can go a little bit more aggressive on that. That's good there. So yeah, it's exciting times. We're getting there. We're getting closer and closer. It is awesome. And also,
go ahead.
No, you go for it. I
was going to say, so let me put some numbers, because you talked about going through an iteration with the vault. So let's say vault number one, let's take the buy and burn vault. So let's say we throw $100,000 in there. Well, the typical haunted strategy is you go, okay, you got $100,000 with a Pulse in there. And again, we don't know the dollar value of the Pulse that we're going to throw in there yet, because we don't know what the price of Pulse will be when we start that vault. So, but for an example, so say the vault one has about 100,000 in it. You take that first 10% loan, that's a $10,000 loan. 75% of that, well, initially 90% of that will go out, buy Pulse, put it back in the vault. So now the vault has more Pulse. 10% of that, so $1,000 worth of that borrow, will go towards the buy and burn function of the Up token. So you go out in the market, you buy it, you remove it from market, and that helps push the price of Up back. So you've done two things with that. You've made your asset bag larger because you acquired a bunch of Pulse. And then you also helped the Up token by burning that token. The second vault will do something very similar. It's going to take the assets, it'll buy Pulse, make that asset bag larger, and then 10% of that will stay in the USD stable, and it goes into that 60% pool down there, making that larger. So grabbing that stable pool and making that larger. And of course, the the stability pool will also be getting a yield. And so that yield mechanism of that will earn loan token. The loan token is going to get thrown down in the loan staking pool, and the yield we get from the loan token is going to go towards a buy and burn. So, there's actually several mechanisms within that first iteration, because you're going to have some buy and burn from the Vault 1. Then you're going to have some buy and burn coming from the yield mechanism of all of that stable is going to work down there in that liquid loans protocol.
Gotcha. And is the pulse that's getting accumulated via liquidations from the stability pool, is that being recompounded back in the stability pool, or will that be going to vaults?
No, we'll never sell the pulse back into the stable coin, but there is like, for example, the loan token that's staked, it would do like a swap, internal swap, to make sure that the stability pool stays where it's at. And so that way the pulse is not just pushed down on the market. It makes no sense. The protocol was built so that way the pulse is not sold on the market to push down the price of pulse. It's there. The stability pool is there to take that pulse. People can get people can put that back into the vaults and mint more stable coins, right? Not sell on the market. I know it's better that way for people in terms of dollar value, but liquid loans wasn't built for this, and it was built so that way the stability pool can take those liquidations rather than dumping it on the market. It's a beautiful system. We should use it. Why it's built, the reason why it was built, and the reason why it does really well is because of that. People are scared of, what if liquidations and selling on the market. That's the beauty of the stability pool. It doesn't sell on the market, so it's not like this cascading liquidations where one gets liquidated and then it just keeps pushing down further and further and further. So it's a wonderful protocol.
Excuse me. We have a question from Jay Gold. I guess he wants a little bit of more information about the haunted strategy and what the numbers look like. If I remember correctly, it's kind of what you guys have laid out. It's 1,000% collateralization ratio, taking that money, rebuying it back into Pulse, and then adding it into the vault that you've already created, waiting for a price to go up. I can't remember. Is it basically waiting until price goes up and then maintain?
Technically, it just goes up and you can maintain the 1,000% collateral. Keep in mind that the haunted strategy is just a base strategy. As you can see, the BWs are going to be using the USDL strategy, much better strategy, but you do need more funds to do so. The USDL strategy, which is just a base, simple strategy to do A, B, and C, where the USDL strategy is what you can call a USDL factory, where USDL is always being minted, or there's always USDL there to actually do something with, whether it was putting in the stability pool, creating new vaults, more buy and burns, and so on and so forth. So it's like a USDL factory. Think of these two wallets that have become two USDL factories that are going to be keeping minting stable coins and doing a buy and burn.
Yeah, and I think what Jay's after is the growth potential. If you started out with a Vault 1 at 100,000 and then Pulse does a 2x, it's like, are you still at the same number of Pulse? No, if you're compounding Pulse and you're buying Pulse every time price goes up 5%, the size of the vaults, the amount of Pulse that's going to live in there compounds greatly. I mean, it's an exponential growth. So you can go from having, a few million Pulse, or let's say you have 1 billion Pulse in the first vault. And then that first vault could turn into, 5 billion Pulse. And then that's at a price point, which is much higher. So, the buy and burns and the loans get larger and larger as the more success Pulse has.
Now, I know, when we're talking about leverage, that is by nature like a long, because that's what this is. When you're accumulating more of the asset, you're going long on the asset. People generally worry, obviously, with liquid loans, like liquidation risks when your collateralization ratio isn't so healthy anymore. And I know the Up and Up X token have some mechanics in place to be able to mitigate, downwards price action over a period of time. Can you kind of outline what those mechanisms are?
So the stability there's going to be stable coins in the stability pool, and every time the price of Pulse dips, 75%, 2 new vaults will be deployed to do the exact same thing as the first 2 vaults, right? And then it'll just do the buy and burn and add more stable coins to the stability pool. Keep in mind that when someone gets liquidated, as long as you've utilized the funds that you have there, like in liquid loans, if you took a loan of a 200% collateral, and then the price drops and you got liquidated, and you still have those stable coins, you've only lost that 10%. You only ever lose that 10% when you get liquidated. Obviously, if you buy Pulse and put it back into the vault, that's a different story, which is what is happening here in the most of the case. But it is also utilizing a percentage of that to replenish the USDL stability pool, and it's also doing a buy and burn. So you're going to see the gains from that, right? And also, one thing to note as well, that the Haunted strategy is 10%. And if you change that to 15%, those numbers change dramatically. You change it to 20%, the numbers change dramatically. It's a choice that people need to choose what they think is safe, or are they happy to do this and say, okay, if I get liquidated one day, I'm fine. Which in this case, with the vaults, if they're going to get liquidated, it's fine because of that stability pool. Instead of, you could sit there and put stable coins back into the vault and pay back some of that loan. But what happens if it keeps dropping and then that gets liquidated? You've just lost all those stable coins that you just put in there. You're better off just creating 2 new vaults and then going from there. If you save that vault and the price goes back up, you're winning in the end. But it's risk versus reward. You want longevity versus just trying to hope for the best. So we went for the longevity route rather than hoping for the best.
Yeah. So some of the numbers on that, like the BW is sitting somewhere around $1 million in the BW wallet. So if we threw 60% in the stability pool right now, we're sitting at about $600,000 in the stability pool and $200,000 in each one of the initial vaults up there. So that stability pool is going to get larger. So as we start that first vault off at 200,000. But let's say we run a cycle and we go through this bull market and Pulse continues to go up, and we're hoping it does, the 10, 20, 30, 100 million X, whatever people want. But we have this nice little bull run. Well, that 600,000 that's down in that stability pool could very well turn into, a couple $1 million. So if we do get that 75% pullback in price and we activate 2 new vaults, the new vaults will actually be larger than the vaults we started this whole protocol off with. So if Pulse has this nice run up, the BW, that wallet is going to get, its asset value gets very large. And if we do have the pullback, because we are sitting 60% in stables, you're able to open up 2 new vaults. If say the stability pool down there gets to $2 million in stables, the new vaults are going to be 400,000 each, and the initial vaults were only 200,000 each. So, and then you're at this price point where Pulse is, down at the bottom at 75, and it's ready to start climbing again. And so now you're opening up vaults and you're borrowing on vaults that are much larger than the initial vaults. And if we don't get the 90% drop and we don't liquidate the first 2 vaults, now we got 4 vaults going at making this BW larger once we do get back to all-time highs.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So as the price is going up, a percentage of the loans that are being taken are being added to the stability pool and just being banked on, so that whenever the price dip actually comes, you've kind of increased that treasury of stability or risk off part of the BW portfolio, so that you're able to restart the strategy when you get a 75% dip is what you said, right?
Yeah. And one thing to note there, right, is that the BW and BWX, let's say it did dip to 75% and it went and used those stable coins to buy Pulse. That's buy pressure on Pulse. That's going to buy Pulse off the market. So the BW and BWX not just helping UpToken and UpX, it's going to be helping Pulse as well and PulseX. So there is an advantage. There is, you don't have to be an UpToken fan or an UpX fan, but hey, you sure want to be a fan of the BW and BWX if you love Pulse and PulseX, because it's going to be buying that up. And even every other token on the blockchain, as long as you're paired to Pulse, your dollar value will go up if the BW buys those buys that Pulse off the market. We don't know what the price impact will be at the time, but it is going to be removing those Pulse and putting them back into the vault. So whatever token you're holding, the BW and BWX will help eventually when it does buy it off the market. Even when the price is going up and we're all-time high, it's buying Pulse off the market. It's helping every other token on the blockchain.
Yeah, that makes sense. So is there ever, just to think of like edge case scenarios, is there ever a situation where things get so extreme to the downside that the stability pool wallet or the stability pool vault gets thinned out so far from creating new vaults? Is that a possibility?
With 180K, it can drop 98% or 99% before the vaults all get liquidated. And if you have 300K in there, it needs to drop way more. So the more
Gotcha.
the more stable coins in the stability pool, the further it can keep dropping and dropping and dropping.
Yeah, because that first drop of 75%, when you take that asset allocation that's in the stability pool, you're going to pull 40% of that, but the other 60% is going to stay in the stability pool, waiting for a second 75% drop if it drops 75% from there. So you would need multiple 75, 75, 75. It can withstand about a 99% drop in the price of Pulse and still have vaults open and ready to go.
Gotcha. So the downside with like absolute game over kind of thing is like if the whole thing just fails. Which if the whole thing fails, then like we just fail anyways. Who cares? Right? Who cares if you had leverage on something that failed? It failed in the first place.
Yeah. And if let's say it did look like it was failing and it dropped 95% or 98% and then came back up token is going to be in, or the BW and BWX will be in an awesome position because it's as long as people are using liquid loans and as long as there's people that the Pulse token goes back up, it'll be fucking awesome. I'm sorry about the language, but
no, you're
good. So it looks bad if the price is dropping, but I believe the price to Pulse up and up X, even in dips when the price goes down, you might actually see it staying stable or actually going up even in downtrend because of these mechanisms. There's also, 50% of each buy and burn goes to buying and burning up token on a 50% dip, which will be happening in the price of Pulse. So when the price of Pulse dips 50%, there is going to be a portion of the buy and burn that's sitting there waiting to do the buy and burn of up and up X at a 50% dip of Pulse. So there are mechanisms to make up token bullish in a bear market, not just a bull market.
Gotcha. Wait, say that last part. If a Pulse gets a 50% dip, then there is money on the side to buy the dip, basically.
Yeah.
So remember that first loan I was talking about in that iteration we were talking about. We have $1,000 that's going to the buy and burn. 500 of it goes right away. The other 500 sitting, waiting and hoping that Pulse has a little bit of a dip, and those accumulate after each loan. And then if we do have that dip, then we've got a fairly large asset bag that's going to come in, and so everybody's panicking over the price of Pulse. Oh no! But then there's this. We're going to be hoping like hell we hit this 50% number, because then there's going to be a large allocation going right into the up token to push it back up.
Gotcha. Okay.
That makes
sense.
Because everything's tied to Pulse, right? If Pulse goes down, everything goes down, even the up token. But we have this asset bag that's going to be accumulating, ready to go.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's talk a little bit about the BW wallet and the BWX wallet. So these are the main wallets that are going to be executing these strategies with its own vaults. Is this an automated process, or right now is this currently being done by hand, or what are the details around that?
There's a smart contract built for the BW and BWX. It's now, because Liquid Loans is now launched, we can sit there and start building it for the actual official smart contract, which is there on Pulse Chain, immutable. So they're going to build it on top, and hopefully in a few weeks' time, we're going to have everything up and running.
God, that's exciting.
Yeah, we have it running on the test net, but with the data on the test net's so irregular, it can be manipulated by people minting stuff. So the smart contracts are there, and so most of the functions are going to be automated call functions, just like you see on Pulse X, where hey, there's some assets over here. Let's go hit the buy and burn function on Pulse X. It's going to be similar to that concept in terms of the smart contract and the dev build on that. Is so if there's a loan to be taken, if we're not at 1,000% collateral anymore, we see it's like, oh shoot, we've got some room to take a loan. Somebody can go in there, activate that, the loan will be taken, and the process runs through.
Gotcha. Is there a reward for running those functions at all, or is it just kind of whoever wants to do it?
No, whoever wants to, yeah. Because if you reward people, then they'll just push it for the sake of pushing it, right? But if it's done, people can now decide, is it best time to press it? So it's a community-run BW and BWX. They do the buy and burns. They do everything. So it's better that way. When they can choose whenever they want, they can do it, right? So yeah, it's open for everyone.
Yeah. Do you have you guys had any consideration for like sandwich attacks or MEV bots kind of front running the buy and burns at all?
Yes, that's come into consideration with the devs. So yeah, we've been speaking about
that. Gotcha. Can you talk about any of those solutions or what you've considered about that, or is that still like in the works?
We'll leave that for later. Best.
Okay, you'll leave that for later. Yeah, no, but it is being considered. It is something that's being taken into account. Okay.
Yeah, it's been taken care of.
Gotcha. Well, that's cool. So immutable smart contract, once it's live, it's basically just going to be running forever. Nobody can stop it. Nobody can access the funds. And anybody at any point can run the public functions to be able to execute different parts of the strategies when they're available.
Yeah. So it's not immutable in the beginning.
Yeah.
So a good way to think about it this way, think of it as it not being immutable until it is. Because things need to be changed. We don't know where the future holds. Once we believe that everything is solid, and we think that it can be, immutable at that point, then we'll do so. Other than that, I want longevity. I don't want to push for something being immutable. Something immutable doesn't mean it's going to have longevity. Sometimes things need to change, and that's what I'm after.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Basically, if you find a time where it makes sense to renounce the contracts, and
100%.
then that would be the time to do that. But until you get some stability and you feel comfortable with it, it's gonna remain, I guess, potentially to like write proxy contracts with it.
The BW and BWX can decide whether A, B, and C is a better route, and they can sit there and just change the route.
Gotcha.
And I think they should have the right to do so, right? Because the sacrifices are worth. You can do whatever you want with your own money. So let them have that freedom. And if they ever decide to make it all immutable, then that's that. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Here's a question from Insano. Ask about liquidity bonanza. So what is that, guys?
The liquidity bonanza. There's only a few days left for the first official liquidity bonanza. There's been a few. Other ones just a promotion type of thing, but this is the one that we've all been waiting for. And then it's the liquidity bonanza is where people send 10,000 pulse to a wallet. If you go into the chat and type #bonanza, you'll have all the information there. But for every 10,000 pulse you send to this wallet, you get a ticket. The liquidity bonanza is what it sounds like. It's going to go to the liquidity. It's going to be buying all the up tokens and putting pulse in that liquidity for anyone to sell, or price appreciation, price go up, whatever you want to do. We don't mind if people sell up token and UpX. We actually like it, right? Seeing, especially when the buy and burns are happening, people would love to see a lower price versus a higher price, but the market decides where it wants to go. But the liquidity bonanza is basically just incentivizing, or just it's there so that way that the community can decide, okay, I want to provide more liquidity on the pulse side for the liquidity bonanza, so they put in pulse into this wallet, and one person is going to be lucky to win 10,000 up tokens.
Gotcha.
There's only a few days left. It finishes on the 6th of this month, I believe. And you better get in. You got to be in it to win it if you want to be part of it. And it's not about winning technically; it's about the liquidity bonanza. But hey, if you do win that 10,000 up token, it's at a good price, right? For 10,000 pulse is worth what, 60 cents, 65 cents for a 10,000 up token, which is worth what, $8,000, $9,000, depending on the price. We don't know. But it is also bringing in more buy and burns for up token, and eventually UpX. UpX hasn't started yet. We're just waiting for that. But it's going to be adding more buy pressure for up and UpX. And you could imagine, removing more up tokens from liquidity and out of supply. When the BW buys those up tokens, no one else could ever buy those up tokens again. They're going to be put in. They're going to do a buy and burn. Sorry, I should say. The liquidity bonanza, 80% of that can't be bought again because it's going to be burning, and then 20% of that goes back into the liquidity bonanza for future giveaways. So that way it can go as long as possible, right? We want that longevity there. So that's going to be hopefully something awesome, right? $10,000, $10,000 giveaway or 10,000 up token giveaway. I think is going to be attractive for a lot of people, and if they get it, awesome.
Okay,
nice.
So just to kind of run the iteration. So somebody sends in a $10,000 or 10,000 pulse. What happens with those 10,000 pulse? They get a ticket. They get a chance to win the prize. But the 10,000 pulse go into the liquidity pool, and they add 10,000 pulse to one side and they remove up tokens from the other side. So the price of the up token goes up. But then for the people that want to exit, now there's more pulse there for you to go exit. So we're trying to increase the amount of pulse that's in there for the people that do want to exit. But at the same point in time, we want to try to run the price up. And then those tokens that are purchased, 80% get burnt and 20% of them stay in the bonanza for the next prize round, so that we have enough up to go you hopefully keep the bonanza going for a while.
Gotcha. So it's basically a community lottery that goes to buying and burning the token and then kind of refueling the lottery for the next round.
Right.
So yeah, and that is also was a community driven giveaway, right? So the communities said, "Hey, can you think of an idea?" And we, the community kept on speaking. I spoke to the community, and we come up with this idea, and then the Liquidity Bonanza wallet was created, right? So hopefully we find more things in the future similar to this, or not similar to this, but brings in the same attraction to Up and Up X in the future. So that's the whole. That's where the Up token shines, right? This is what I want to see. I'd love to see an Up token is more things built like this from the community that brings in more buy pressure or more buy and burn, right? More buybacks and burn, you should say. You could say. And just burning them forever. Once a token is burnt, it means it's never going to be sold. And you or I couldn't buy those tokens at that price point at that time. Or the BW that did. The price may go back down there, may go lower, but at that point, they can have those tokens that were bought never again, right? And that's the beauty of it. And hopefully the supply just keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, and have a beautiful.
The up token was minted with 21 million tokens, distributed to the sacrifice set. No founder tokens, no team tokens. Just here you go, you're in. And the supply is diminishing. The benevolent wallet, not the benevolent wallet, but the lottery bonanzas already went in there and purchased a bunch of up tokens, and they're gone. You can go to the contract address if you go to our Telegram group and type in contract. You can get the contract addresses. Go into PulseScan, look at the contract, and you'll see that there's no longer 21 million tokens. They're depreciating. So both tokens are depreciating tokens. They're with most tokens, and you can see it in the price charts of most tokens. Everybody's worried about being the last bag holder. It's like, oh, I got to sell the top. With the benevolent wallets, there is a guy coming back to buy no matter what the price is. So we in our token we have this thing called never late. You're never late to buy the Up token or the UpX token because there is another buyer, and the BWX is sitting on probably about $3 million, and it's going to go earning more, getting a yield, and it's just continually buying UpX. And the BW, which is for Up token, is sitting on about $1 million now because we have a little price run in Up token. I mean, in Pulse. So it's going to be buying. So you're never going to be the last guy holding because the BWs are earning a yield, making money, and they're buying the token.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm looking at the liquidity for UpX right now. It's about $240,000 of liquidity in there with the Pulse pair, and about $110,000 of liquidity for the Up token. And so if we're looking at the numbers that the BW has, that is with just 10% of that is enough to move price with the amount of liquidity that there is, versus if there was like $10 million of liquidity, it might not move the price up as much. But the liquidity to buy power of the BW wallet does work out for like the price to go up right now.
Yeah, the lower the liquidity, the price goes up. That's just simple math, right? More bigger buy and burns, lower liquidity, numbers go up. But also, people say, like, I've seen some places, or in the beginning of Up token or UpX, the liquidity is low, but the volume was so high. There was turnover, there was token distribution. People were able to sell, 50, 60, 70, 100K with this liquidity. And that's the beauty of it. You got to understand how liquidity works. As long as you have buyers and the sellers are there, numbers can still go up, and still people are able to sell more than what you think, right? Just because only, let's say something had 50K liquidity, doesn't mean that there's only 50K you can sell. As long as you have buyers and sellers, someone can extract 100K from a 50K liquidity pool. You just got to learn and educate yourself about things like that. And you can see that the other day, the Up token had, or UpX had, over 300K in volume versus its liquidity, right? And that's people coming in and coming out. That's a beauty. Token distribution is a beautiful thing for something that has longevity, and price hopefully goes up. And you want to see that. You want to see token distribution. You want to see people get out and people come in. This is price positive. And I love it. I love it when I see the volume high. Even if the price is going down, the volume high, it just means that, once those sellers are gone at that price range, it hopefully just goes to the next price range, and that's what we've seen with our token. We've seen that with UpX as well. People started selling at a 2-to-1, or even people started selling 1.3, so they're only up 30%, and people were selling, right. You had one guy who put in 20K, took out 26K. He was happy with that. Good on him. He's happy, right? But then once he's finished selling and the other people finished selling at that price range, he went to a 2-to-1. So I should have said 1 to 1.3, and then he went to a 2-to-1, and then he went. When people sold at that, people finished selling at that range, he went to a 3-to-1, 4-to-1, 5-to-1, 6-to-1. Went all the way up to a 10-to-1, came back down to around a 6-to-1. And now it's going back up. I don't know if it's going to continue going up or continue going down. We'll see. But hopefully it does go up. We all do hope it all goes up. Up and up into the X's. That's what we would like to see. But once people finish selling at a price range, and they just wait for the next one. That's what we've been seeing in Up and UpX so far. What happens in the future, I don't know. But it's looking great.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So for the members of your audience who are unaware of when UpX came into existence, we had a minting phase that ended on November 7th. And through that entire minting phase, you could trade one pulse for one UpX, one to one. And you called it trade. Honta calls it minting. I don't know what's the official SEC word we're supposed to use, but
technically it's minting. You've minted your tokens out of thin air. That's what everyone did. Everyone minted their own tokens out of thin air.
It's one for one. And then the day after launch, we watch all these sacrifice tokens out there, and they tank after they launch. Well, we went to 1.3, as Honta said. So the guy who minted on November 7th, one pulse, he could trade it for 1.3 pulse, the next day. And then it went to 2. So his one pulse became 2 pulse if he wanted out. And that's what he was talking about. We had a gentleman who minted $20,000 worth of pulse, and he exited with $26,000 worth of pulse, and now it's at 7-to-1. I looked at it before we went on stream. So your one pulse is now worth 7 pulse in under a month. And as Honta said, it's been as high as 10 or 11 or 10 point something. I can't remember how high it got during the just prior to Liquid Loans launching. There was a good run because everybody's anticipating the BW, which has $3 million worth of assets, putting those in vaults, and the first vault being 20%, $600,000 vault, first loan, 10%, $60,000. 10% of that's going to go by. There's a $6,000 buy coming pretty soon, and that's not including any of the yield from the stability pool or any of the other mechanisms. But we're expecting daily to weekly buy and burn from the BW to be fairly significant. So everybody's like, well, shoot, if I know I've got a buyer, why would I sell right now? I'll just hold on until this guy starts buying. And then at some point we'll get to the number that I want. I want, like you were saying, somebody wanted out at 1.3, somebody wants out at 2-to-1, 5-to-1. Whenever you're happy with your price point, get out. Because the BW is still coming behind you to buy again next week, tomorrow, the next day.
You know what I love about this conversation is that we're not scared of sellers. Most people are scared of sellers. I'm buying the top, or I'm going to be exit liquidity, or I'm going to be A, B, and C. We're not scared of sellers. We say, okay, people are going to find their price point and they're going to sell at that point. And they're going to, hopefully they're happy. They're happy and they move on. Sweet. People say, one person goes, I sold my up tokens a bit too early. I'm like, were you happy when you sold? He goes, yeah. I go, okay, then what are you upset for? You were happy at the time. Don't let it get to you, because don't let the emotions after get to you, because obviously in hindsight, 2020, you can say, oh, this was a better move and that was a better move, but at the time it was the correct thing for yourself. So be happy about it. Token distribution is a beautiful thing. I want to see more wallets. I want to see more holders. I want to see the big community grow. That's what's happening. The community is growing and growing and growing. I'm seeing more people jumping into Telegram than actual wallets growing. So that means that people are ready to buy if there's ever a dip to come. That's what I believe. Maybe they're just coming to join the Telegram to see what's happening. I don't know, but it is growing, and I think you will see more token distribution with these people if they're waiting to buy.
No, that makes a lot of sense, and that's really exciting. And it's nice. It's nice that you guys are not worried about sellers, you're like, yeah, go sell. We know we have a big buyer coming in, and I assume also is like, yeah, sell your tokens and I'll buy them, because I know if I don't buy them, then they're gone forever. So you want to accumulate the ones while you can at the price points that you're at. This is a concept that Sup Everybody brought up, and I think this is a good thing to bring up now. Is how do you guys see, like, with the addition of V3 on Pulse Chain, V3 Uniswap V3 DEX? How do you see that playing into the role of all of this, with people able to set like single-sided positions to be able to kind of sell up as the price goes, or maybe even like a UpX V3 pool of like concentrated liquidity, so that there's a nice trading between the two tokens? Have you guys given any thought to that, or how that might affect things, or what might be advantageous for people to do?
Let the community do the LP, like, so that way they can decide when to buy and when to sell. Having the BW and BWXs buy directly off the market is a better thing for price. Just the price just goes up. If it just provides liquidity and go, okay, I'm going to do my buy and burns, but I'm going to add V3 liquidity. I'm going to wait for you to sell. It's just going to buy off the market, price appreciation, and so on and so forth. So that way it doesn't care where the price is. It doesn't try to manipulate. It just buys at the time, and that's it.
Yeah, so for the BW wallets, doing V3 liquidity doesn't make too much sense. But in terms of like the tools that V3 gives to the community to be able, to be able to better take advantage of, say, when the BW buys, or be able to take advantage of when they want to take profits, I think is pretty cool. I think the pair of Up and UpX is pretty solid too, in a lot of ways, because they're both tied together in the same. In some ways, you don't matter. It doesn't matter as much which one you have over the other. The underlying mechanisms are the same to a degree, and so kind of greasing the infrastructure between the two could be beneficial. At least that's what it's looking like on my end.
You never know. People maybe want to remove liquidity when the buy and burns happen, and then add liquidity because of the volume. I don't know. So you might see that. You might see people remove and go, okay, this is going to pump right now. I don't want to have too much of an impermanent loss. Let it pump and then re-add the liquidity wherever it lands. I remember in the beginning there was some liquidity there, and then the UpX started pumping, and people started removing the liquidity because it was just going up, right?
Yeah.
So and then people started adding once it settled, and then so people will remove, they'll add, they probably want to be in the LP pair just because of the volume, because the buy and burn happens, and they know people are going to sell. It might stay at a range for a while, and they go, okay, this is probably a good time to provide liquidity, earn a yield, and then they remove it when they think that the sellers are slowing down and there's going to be way more buyers, and continue from there. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, one of the exit strategies we try to provide the community with, or plant this little seed in their heads, like, hey, if you're 1% of the supply, and you got 1% of the supply, and the BW goes in, and all of a sudden it starts removing tokens, and now you're at 1.1% of the supply, because there's less supply, you still have the same number of tokens. Maybe you want to exit the 0.1 so that you don't lose your initial position, but you exited and you're still 1% of the supply, because the BW's bought some of your tokens. Let the BW buy them off of you. And if you do want to exit at at 10x, then you can go to one of the V3 liquidity farms and throw your tokens in right there. And at some point the BW will pursue those, because if the BWX is sitting on $3 million and Pulse does a 10x, we're not going to be at $30 million. We'll probably be at about $50 million because of the compounding effect. And so now you got a $50 million wallet out there who's got one purpose, and that's to buy your token off of you. So you can wait it out and wait for Pulse to have a nice little run and say, okay, now I'm ready to exit, because this is enough money now to go buy the car, buy the boat, or whatever toy you wanted to get yourself, or pay off this bill. That's what we're here for. We want to see you succeed. The BW is not. See, most guys who buy tokens, they're waiting to sell them higher. The BWX is not selling a token. It's throwing them away. It is benevolent. Don't we wish every founder and every sacrifice project had a wallet out there that was trying to protect the price of their token?
That would be pretty great, wouldn't it? I like the idea of maybe doing like a full range V3 position on Up and UpX, just because you're earning fees in both of the Up and UpX token through the trading volume. So like as a way to make both of the tokens a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking, productive, while also earning in the same tokens, could be interesting. But And one thing I wanted to make sure we get to, because I know we're starting to close in on the hour. When you guys did your stream with Axis and Crispy Man, one of the topics that came up was the potential of other people utilizing similar strategies with their protocols. You know, kind of like Up and UpX being the what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like the flagship protocol is like, hey guys, did you know you can also build these kind of mechanisms into your tokens too? Do you see like the haunted strategy or the USDL strategy being adopted by other protocols to like incorporate a buy and burn?
Yeah, once especially once we prove ourselves that it's working and it's working fine, I think people will. Any added buy pressure on Pulse Chain is a plus for Up and UpX, so great. But yeah, I think you will see people doing it. You can't stop. It's a free market. People can do whatever they want. You know, you can't say, "Oh no, I hope they don't do it." You know, people can do whatever they want, man. People are free to do whatever they want with their own money, and if it's good for it's good for them, great. You know, being at the ground floor and the ground level with Up and UpX, I think it's a no-brainer at the moment, and you know, it's a great place to be. But yeah, people will do it, and as long as they're buying Pulse and putting it into the vaults and doing a buy and burn, and you know, adding more Pulse, buying more Pulse as the price goes up, hey, more buy pressure, the better it is for Up and UpX.
Well, I think Haunted's being a little humble here. What he's created here is going to put pressure on every founder going forward, because their community is going to go, we want something like that. We want part of this SAC funds to go towards protecting our price. In fact, we spoke to a founder the other day, and he may or may not have a BW, but he's looking over how successful this thing should be for Up and UpX. And he goes, maybe I should just bond my liquidity to your token. That way, as your token goes up, my token goes up, because he sees the benefit of what we're doing over here with Up and UpX. So what Haunted has designed here is quite remarkable. I think, as Axis said, it's going to be a Rubicon moment in the founders world, because every project going forward is like, we want something like this for our token as well.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I can see it. And if you have a token who just has a fixed supply, it makes sense. Like if you can incorporate some kind of buy and burn, why not? Like it's going to become kind of like if you don't have it, people are going to be less likely to want to participate in the stuff that you have anyways. Here's a question, not really a question, but a topic I've seen in the chat. It's basically Up versus UpX, which is better? I'm sure you guys get that one a lot. Which one do I buy? Haunted, Dave, like, this is great. You've convinced me. But, like, which one do I buy? There are two tokens, man. I can't decide.
I'm going to go first because I like to say this one point about both tokens. You don't know which token is going to have the seller or the sellers. And sellers matter more than anything when we start talking about which one's going to do better, because both have a BW. Both are going to be working their butt off to get a yield in the same protocols, doing the same structure. So we're going to see price growth. The question is, which community is going to have more guys exiting at 2x or 5x or 10x? Because everybody has their price point. And you can't make that prediction in terms of the community. So long term, they both do extremely well. You know, this week, it might be this token because, you know, maybe we hit a 10x on UpX and everybody starts selling it at 10x. And we've already passed that with UpX. So we've gotten rid of those guys, but we got a little delay on UpX right now because we got to get through that psychological 10x. But then, you know, then UpX takes off because we got rid of those guys. And now you got to wait, you know, they're going to run. Whereas, you know, UpX has their psychological, okay, we've hit our, you know, 50x. So we got guys selling at 50x. So they're going to seesaw back and forth, in my opinion.
Okay. What about you, Honda? What do you think?
Me? What do I think? I think the liquidity is bonded together, so who cares? Just buy.
Flip a coin. Flip a coin and pick one. That's it. That's all you need to do.
Someone buys Up token, UpX also goes up, and someone buys UpX, Up token goes up. It's going to be, it's going to be fun. The liquidity is bonded. It doesn't matter which one you buy. One's going to probably outperform the other by a little bit. You know what? You're going to be up regardless, so who cares?
Yeah.
You're going to be happy. I know everyone wants the best option and the best this, but hey, if you're up, who cares? Up into
that is some nice branding that you did with naming it Up token.
Yeah, go look at the price charts.
Look, the name, and I hope people do follow this more in the future. Give your tokens a simple name, man. It's hard to remember, hard to spell. People in this crypto community all have ADHD of some form. Man, make it simple. Make it simple so other people can just say, okay, yeah, Up. UpX,
Yeah.
easy, no brainer. Choose something simple. It helps. It does a lot. It goes a long way. You know, I want to see other projects be successful as well. You know, but a name makes a big difference. It does. I know it might not sound like a big difference, but if you tell someone, hey, try to remember, you know, some weird name, you know, Tom Scully. Who's going to remember Tom Scully? Call your token Tom. Who's going to remember that? Tom Scully. No one's going to remember that. You know, UpX, easy to remember. Single syllables, guys. Stick with it. Keep it simple.
Makes sense. Crypto
Right.
baskets. Go ahead, Dave. Yeah, go ahead.
No. I said he's right. There's some names out there, and I don't even know what the correct name is of the aggregator on our decks. Is it Pities or Pites? Which one is it?
I've heard Piteus and Piteus. That's the two that I've heard.
That's a perfect example. It's like, you know, it's like, okay, there could have probably been a better name for that. I don't even know what the name stands for.
Protocol. I'm not talking bad about the protocol, but the name. Just make it simple. But hey, it's working. Great. It's fine.
It's a great aggregator. I use it.
That's what I use too for most of my swaps.
I use it as well. But I'm like Piteous. What is it? Like if it wasn't saved on my browser, I probably wouldn't know how to spell it. Like seriously, like just keep it simple. But hey, you know, education. People will use it. I just want to see more simple names.
They can't misspell up. Go get a deck screener, type in up.
I wouldn't underestimate people, Dave. You know, you never know what kind of crap you're gonna get on the internet.
They might misspell UpX with an X and an S at the end. Maybe, I don't know, but you know, it's just keep things simple. It does great. You know, that's one thing I like to see.
HexTC says ADHD crew.
It's nice. Pretty much all of crypto. So
you're Haunted. You're not wrong.
Well, that's like ask Haunted what his Telegram channel is. I mean, because it's perfect.
I try to find the name in the all taken. So I go, you know what? Up, always buying, never selling. ABNS. But I agree. I should have had something simple, but I couldn't find anything simple. I would have had to put UpX // cross this and cross that just to get it. So I went to ABNS, always buying, never selling.
ABNS.
ABNS. I like it. Crypto Baskets had a question. He said, will you ever be multi-chain?
Let's just focus on one chain at a time.
Yeah.
We'll see what the future.
So no current ambitions, basically. We'll get Pulse Chain down first, and then maybe we have the conversation later.
Yeah, like if there's an opportunity and it comes. But at the moment, we're focusing on Pulse Chain. This is where everything is happening. Focus on one thing. You know, you do great. Whether it happens on others, we'll just have to wait and see.
Makes sense. All right, guys. I think we did a good job this hour. What do you think?
Excellent. I think you did a great job. Thank you for having us on.
We'll look at the likes and the comments and find out if we actually did good. If you did like the video or the stream, please like.
That's nice.
You do great. You know, and leave a comment. It does help the algo, so that way more people can see the stream. You know, if you want to be selfish, buy them now and then hit the like and put the comments. You know, that way, you know, do whatever you like. But hit the like button. It does go a long way. Type something in the chat. You know, it does go on anything. You know, hey, if you want to speak badly about me, write it in the chat. It helps the algo. You know, your bad comments does good for me. So and crypto sloth. So go for it. And another thing is, just want to emphasize that don't forget the liquidity bonanza. It is the first one is finishing in 5 days or 4 days or whatever it is. It's the time's running out. If you want to be part of that, remember, type apostrophe bonanza in the chat, and then it'll just give you a detail of how it works. Don't be shy. You don't have to be a part of it if you just want to watch it. It will be the draw will be done in Telegram on a video chat a few days after, a day or two after, whenever I'm free, and I'll get that done. It will happen, and then the next bonanza happens straight after that. And I'll set the rules after that once it goes live, or once we get there.
Perfect. Dave, why don't you tell us everybody where they can find you, and any last words?
Jump into the Up Telegram room. It's t.me/up ABNS. You know,
Always buying, never selling.
always buying, never selling. Yeah, we're in there pretty constantly. You'll catch Haunted in there on voice chat just about every day. The man sleeps maybe 3 hours a day. Hardest working man we know.
If you want to find me, just contact Dave and then speak to him.
Get to Haunted through Dave.
I've got like in the beginning it was like maybe 100 to 150 DMs of promotions. All these promotion guys DMing me. So just contact Dave, you'll be fine.
Yeah,
okay. That's perfect.
Johnny
so
Rocket.
Yeah, go ahead.
Johnny Rockert's our head of marketing, so contact Johnny Rocket.
I'll fake head of marketing so that way everyone can DM him instead of me.
Yeah, get out of your DMs. Oh man, that's good. So yeah, everybody, I put the official UpToken Twitter as well as Haunted's Twitter down in the description below. So go follow both of those to get the official links for everything, so that you're going to the right place. You're not going to like a scam Telegram or a scam website. So use those links to find everything. Look into it. If you found the stream interesting and you like what you've heard, go in. It sounds like these guys are pretty readily available in their Telegram, so don't hesitate to reach out to them in there. Just be a little careful with Telegram. I've been hearing some rumblings of some scams going around lately. So just be extra alert, guys, for people DMing you. People will never DM you personally. Other than that, you guys know where you can find me. You're on my channel right now. I don't think you need any trouble, but I got some links in the description below as well. Haunted, Dave, I really appreciate your time coming on to explain your guys' protocol and the ecosystem you guys are building. So I appreciate that a lot. Thank you so much.
No problem, man. Thank you for having us here. Appreciate it. And hopefully up into the X's for everyone on Pulse Chain.
Yeah, up X forever, right?
That's it. Thank you very much.
All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend. Have a great week. And you will see me around on the interwebs at some point. Peace out.
Let's go.